Good morning. You're joining me on a very cold last day of January 2024. It's -1 degree C, so I am watching out for ice, but there doesn't seem to be any, so far so good. Now, if you're not one of my regular viewers and you just come here for the discussion of oval chain rings, then you can skip forward using the chapter button. But for those of you that are regulars, I'll just explain why this is my first video of 2024, the last one being just before Christmas. Quite a few things have been happening actually. One is that we had a campaign to do as many guided rides as possible in January. We managed to get 5 in between the 4 leaders in the area, and we had a really good turnout. We have been trying to get some of the newer riders involved by putting on shorter rides, 7 miles, but they really haven't worked, and we've just had the usual suspects turning up, for which we're really grateful, because those are riders that 7 miles isn't worth getting out of bed for, but they've turned up just to support us. So we've started to put on 30-35 mile rides, and they've been really well attended. And my theory is that people that are only capable of 7 miles are probably less likely to go out in the winter anyway. So we'll start to put the shorter rides on again in the summer to involve everybody. The other thing that's happened is with the campaigning work, all of a sudden things started to move. We have the new independent regime in the local council, and suddenly we got some movement. I was invited to go along and talk to them about one of our projects that we need funding for, and I have to say I was at the meeting yesterday and the proposal was accepted. We just have to now put some formal paperwork in to get the funding, and obviously there's the not small matter of planning permission, but hopefully it should go ahead, and it's all worthwhile. I have to say at one point I was all for giving up, but we all get like that, I guess, sometimes. And the other reason I haven't done anything is, apart from time and the fact that the weather's not been great for riding, I was just getting quite tired really at the end of the year. I always vowed I wouldn't get sucked into the YouTube thing. You know, they're always pressing you to do more, do it more often, and I don't do that. So it was good to step away, and my plan for this year is I'm probably going to just do 2 videos a month, but I'll try to make them as high quality as possible. So this morning I'm off to meet Wendy. She's just got back from 6 weeks away, and she'll tell you all about that no doubt shortly. And today I'm riding oval chain rings. A couple of weeks ago I had a chance encounter with Dave Ward. Now Dave owns and operates No 2 Cycles in the Vale of Belvoir, and apart from being an ace bike mechanic, Dave's also a bike fitter. So he started talking about biodynamics, I think it was hip angles and so on, and the first thing he did is check my crank length, which is 165 millimeters, and he said that was good. But then when he looked at my chain rings and saw that they were 50-34, he immediately said that that wasn't doing me any favours on climbs. Now, when I built this bike, I fitted a 50-34 chain ring. That seemed the right combination with my limited knowledge. But Dave asked me the question, how much time do I spend in the big ring? And of course the answer was very little. And before anyone comments, stay in the big ring, it'll make you stronger. Well, at 71, I don't want to get stronger. I just want to maintain the fitness I've got. And then he started talking about the benefits of oval chain rings, certainly for people that are getting older and maybe having some knee problems and so on. So I went away and had a look, but I found the subject as divisive as Brexit. electric cars versus petrol and diesel cars, and Wahoo versus Garmin. Some people said they're nothing but snake oil, they don't do any good. Other people said they're fantastic, they make a great difference. Now Dave has never let me down. He's not one for frivolity as far as bike specs go, so I decided I'd bite the bullet and buy them. Now I paid £180 for these, which is a lot of money for something that you don't know is going to work. But today is the first day I'm riding with these, and I'm going to tell you how they feel real world. We're going to do a big climb, well, big for around here anyway, and we'll see how we get on. Now Dave suggested, because I spend so little time in the big ring, I would be better going for a 46-30, and from what I've read since, that combination is what's recommended for, certainly if you're doing a fair bit of climbing or you're carrying packs and so on, then 46-30 is the way to go. So I ordered the Chainrings from Absolute Black, and 2 days later they arrived with DHL Express, so I was very impressed with that. I fitted them on Monday, and today is the first ride. So as I speak to you now, I've ridden them for precisely 6.1 miles. I did have to lower the derailleur cage because obviously it's a smaller chainring, and then it's just a case of getting the correct clearance at the highest point of the chainring. One common theme that came up with oval chainrings is that they do not shift between the small and large ring very well. Some people commented that you had to really work at changing the gear. Some said that you had to be at a certain point on the ring. But I can honestly say I've had no problem at all with changing. It was very, very smooth from the off. So what I would say is, if you're pretty competent with bike repairs and so on, it's easy enough to do. But if you're at all unsure, then your local bike shop will sort it for you. Now, I don't know what I was expecting. I think I was expecting some sort of weird pedalling motion. But of course, the thing to remember is that the axle is still in the centre. You are still turning around a fixed axis. But what I can feel, I can best describe as a very, very subtle easing and increasing of resistance. Now, I'm not somebody that puts in a huge amount of power, so I'm not expecting miracles in terms of speed and climbing ability. But you know that feeling you get when you're on a steep climb and you're looking for another gear and you realise that you're all out of them? Well, certainly the 30-tooth chainring is going to give me better climbing ability anyway. But also, I'm expecting the oval to give me even more. Now, there's obviously some very clever mathematics involved, well, clever for me anyway, which I'm not going to go into because I honestly don't understand it. But I don't need to. All I need to do is ride my bike. Now, of course, because my small ring has gone down from 34 to 30, it's going to be easier anyway. So any improvement can't instantly be put down to the oval chainrings. Right, well, we've teamed up with Wendy, and up ahead of us is the infamous terrace. Wendy was saying the other day she fancied doing it, so I thought, well, what better time to try out these new chainrings? So
yeah, but I haven't got new chainrings.
You haven't got them, no.
Thanks, Roy.
It was your idea.
Yeah, but I felt good the other day.
So I was just saying to everybody, you've been 6 weeks in Spain.
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
It was lovely, nice and sunny, beautiful, relaxed.
You actually said you were winter training, you told me, but you didn't say what you were training for.
No, I was training at relaxing, I think, and de-stressing.
Did you get out on a bike at all?
Yeah, I went out with my brother-in-law a couple of times, Ian.
Yeah.
We did some huge climbing, The bike shop didn't have any women's road bikes. They did have extra small giants, but they didn't have any available. So I took a sort of shopper e-bike up into the mountains. And I have to say, it was just really good. It was fine. It still had half the battery by the time we got back after 40, 50 miles. So
that sounds idyllic.
It was lovely. I mean, the views were fantastic, and some lovely villages to go and have us explore around. So, yeah, really, really good.
Good.
And then when we stayed a few nights in Malaga, and Terry and I went out cycling along the seafront, and the hotel actually just give you bikes if you want to go out.
Free of charge?
Yeah.
That's
free
amazing.
Of charge. Yeah, there were super bikes with little baskets in the front and everything. You could go out for as long as you want. And they were just brilliant.
Really good.
Again, there was a cycle path all along the seafront, pretty much.
And which part of Spain was that?
Malaga.
That was Malaga, but where were you before?
Nerja. Or Nerja, or Nerja.
Okay.
Which very pretty, but still a proper little old village sort of thing. It's not got a lot of high rise or anything. So really nice.
You missed a lot here because we had fantastic weather, you know. As you saw. So now you're back in the cold.
Yeah.
We're about to go up a big hill.
Yeah, thank you.
So we might have to stop talking.
Even before we start it.
But the interesting thing is, this is the first time I've dropped into a small ring.
Is that in anticipation?
Yeah.
Don't think I'm going to have enough rings.
Well, I have to say, so far so good. I'd normally not be speaking now because I wouldn't have enough breath.
Yeah.
I can actually feel the action of these ovals.
Yeah.
I now can see exactly what they mean. Legs are still burning, but it's not as bad. It's horrible, this hill, because you get around this bend and then you realise there's more. Now, as you know, I don't do stats, but it'll be interesting to see how that was, the performance on the terrace. I mean, normally I resist it because it's such a horrible hill. You know, you get around that bend and it's going up again.
It still goes like that last bit, isn't it?
And then you get to the next bend and it's going up again. But I've got my breath back pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And I could do it again. I don't particularly want to.
I don't know whether I could. I don't know.
It certainly,
you try, do you?
Certainly wouldn't be something that I would be trepidatious about.
Yeah.
However, it has to be said that I am on a smaller chain ring.
Yeah.
I am nearer to your, well,
Yeah.
I'm slightly smaller than your smallest ring. When I'm on that hill normally, you know, my forward pressure on the pedal is really hard.
It gets tough, doesn't it?
And then obviously you release and it's easier. This was linear, you know, I suppose is the right word. It was smooth all the way through. So it certainly is doing something.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting if when I get one to try it to see what my stats are.
Yeah.
I think just struggled up it.
Yeah. I should be struggling up while you're at the top.
Yeah, dream on.
Right. So we've got a real strong headwind today.
It is really blustery.
Really blustery.
Gets stronger as well. About 12, 1 o'clock
Is it?
for a little while. It's really strong gusts. Not necessarily strong all the time, but real gusts of wind at 40 miles an hour. So that should be fun.
It's not changing direction, is it?
Don't think so.
Good.
No.
So that'll be a 40-mile-an-hour tailwind. So are we gonna head out to Hilltop?
From here, we're not far away, are
Not
we?
really. No.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Which way do you want to go? Straight across, or are we going along and down
No, we'll go to the end and right, I think. Do you think?
Yeah, and then go down by the top of the hill bit.
Yeah.
That makes sense
I know
to
what
me.
you mean. Right, let's go.
Does that mean we're into the wind though if we do that?
It is. Yeah, there's no choice. But think of the tailwind on the way back.
What's that bird up there?
No idea.
Big one. Red kite.
Nah, probably a buzzard. Oh no, it's a crow, isn't it? Or
Oh,
something?
it's a crow.
Yeah.
Noisy bugger.
I can see that neither of us are a Biloddy, are we?
Look at this sheep.
The grass is always greener.
Isn't it just? Is that good? It probably is in this case, looking at that.
The evenings are not as dark anymore, Wendy.
Snowdrops are out.
Yeah. So we're in 2024, Wendy, so it's time to start thinking about these rides.
Yep. Looking forward to some good rides. Keep thinking taking the bikes up to Edinburgh and then riding all the way back, or ride up to Edinburgh
It's uphill,
and train
isn't it?
back. Psychologically, isn't it?
It is uphill psychologically.
I know exactly what you mean.
And I always think riding towards home is better.
It feels better.
Yeah. So I think train to Edinburgh
And then downhill all the way
and then
back.
downhill all the way back, yeah. So we've got a nice northerly wind, so we get some assistance.
What do you think? It'll probably take a week or so, won't it?
Say again?
Take a week?
Yeah, well, take as long as we need.
Well, indeed. I don't know a route from Newcastle back, but I'm sure there is one. What would be that NCN1, isn't it?
I'm going to say NCN1 pretty much does it.
Yeah.
And then I guess once we're over the Humber Bridge, we could then start to head across
Towards Lincoln.
towards home, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, get to Lincoln and then we can come across the old railway down to Tuxford or down to the Trent Vale Trail. That'd be lovely.
Yeah.
Right, so that's got to be it. We'll
Yeah.
start to plan. Right, I'm going to go for it. See,
Oh, absolutely. Good luck. Watch the wind. Don't do a froom.
now the downside of going for the 46 tooth ring is that I won't have as much top speed. Now, top speed isn't really a thing with me anyway, but coming down hills it's quite nice to put some power in. And I'm now in my highest gear and motoring along perfectly. So absolutely no loss as far as that goes. In fact, I was unlikely to get in the highest gear before with the 50 tooth ring. Not like Spain, is it?
No. You mean I can't ride in my shorts and t-shirts?
Well, you can, but you might get icicles.
It's not too cold. It's
Not, no. It's the wind, isn't it? And we're, on
Yeah.
this stretch we're on, we're getting this crosswind,
yeah.
which every time we get to a gate is blowing us. But hopefully shortly we'll have it behind us, which will be good.
We should swap sides, really, Roy.
Why is that?
Then you can protect me.
Well, you're sheltering me. why would I swap? But actually, you don't provide much shelter, do you?
Well, there you go. We might as well do it the other way. What do you think of your new chain rings?
I think I'd break it down really into two parts. One is the fact that it's now 4630 instead of 5034 has clearly made a difference anyway. It's certainly easier on the hills. As for the ovals, I expected them to feel strange, but of course they don't, because you're still centered on that axle, so your pedals are turning just the same. But what I can feel is when I'm spinning, there's really no difference.
Yeah.
But when I put the power on, I can actually feel it driving the power in at the right time. Now, as you know, I'm not a powerful rider anyway. Where it's really gaining for me is on the hills. And what I found is, okay, I've got that much lower gear now.
Yeah.
But what I found is that where on a hill I find that I'm having to really push against it, you know, on that downstroke,
Yeah.
it just seemed to smooth that out. So, okay, I've only done 35 miles on them. I did expect them to be needing a bit of time to get used to them, but in fact I've got used to them immediately. I've got no problem.
Right.
My indexing I have got to just set up a bit better. It's not quite right.
Yeah.
But the changes are smooth.
Yeah.
You know, one or two people have said, oh, you know, they don't change gear very easily from the small ring to the big or whatever. No problem at all with that. It's smooth. I'm spending a heck of a lot more time in the big ring. In fact,
yeah, I noticed that.
I've hardly been in the small ring.
And usually you ride most of it in the
I
small
do,
ring.
yeah.
Don't you?
Now I realise why. It's because that 50 tooth gear was probably too much. And I think it's something that you tend to read that others do, but you know, when you take into account age, ability, and all the rest of it, and the fact that we've got relatively heavy bikes because of the riding we do, and we're riding on gravel, the 4630 makes a lot of sense. The MTB community have used them for years.
Yeah.
So there has to be something in it. And of course there'll always be those people that say you don't need them, just get stronger legs or whatever.
Oh.
Well, you know, as we age,
we try our best.
all we can do is hang on to what we've got. So I suppose the obvious question I would ask myself is, do I think they're worth £180?
Yeah.
Well, the fact that certainly the lower gearing has helped me immensely. Now I could have probably bought Shimano lower gears for less than 180.
Left. Go as Lockton.
You what, sorry?
Left.
Yeah,
go
left.
as Lockton.
So I could have bought probably standard Shimano 4630 for less. But I certainly felt that on the terrace, I've never been up the terrace so easily.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it was easy, but it'll be interesting trying Casthorpe as well on the way back. Because
gosh, yes, that should be good. That's a test.
Because with Casthorpe at the end of a long ride, I'm really having to push that pedal down, and it's hard. And this is where I think the oval is helping.
Yeah, it's just not as tired legs as usually.
It's smoothing out the stroke.
Yeah.
So in answer to the question, I think 180 is far too much for chainrings, but if that's what you've got to pay. And I think the thing is, with Absolute Black, they're one of the few companies that are making one for a two-ring bike, you know, that will operate as a road bike or whatever, and gravel bike.
It means you might have a bit more confidence that any hill that's coming up you could have a good go at.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think certainly, you know, sometimes I look at a hill and think, oh, I'm not looking forward to that. And as you know, sometimes I'll go the longer way round to miss Casthorpe Hill on the way home.
Yeah.
If I'm tired. I don't think I'll feel that way now. Now, obviously, when we do our multi-day trip, we're going to be having bags to carry. plus the trailer for your wardrobe. So I think we're going to need all the help we can get, and I'm confident these are going to help us.
Right, good.
Now this lady on the horse has seen us.
Has she?
Yeah, she looked back.
Okay. Passing.
Oh yeah.
Hi. Woo.
I'd be interested to know if any of you have experienced the oval chain rings and what you think. Have they helped you? Have they hindered you? Obviously it's early days for me. Today's ride's going to be about, I would think, 53 miles. But it's been quite a test today because we've done the steepest hill in the area, we've done a few other climbs, and of course we've had this relentless headwind. And certainly I've stayed in the big ring most of the time. But as I've said, some of that's going to be down to the fact that I've reduced the gear size on the front, but I certainly felt the benefit of oval on the terrace. It was much smoother climbing. Now some people have used oval chain rings to help alleviate knee pain. I certainly know Michael in Peterborough has done that. In fact, he has several sets of chain rings for different types of rides. But he says even now his knees are suffering because they've got too bad. Now fortunately, although I suffer with my knees if I walk any distance, I don't when I'm on my bike. I can ride easily 100 miles and not have any knee pain at all, or any follow-up knee pain. So the oval chain rings aren't going to do anything to help my knees, but they're certainly not doing anything to hinder them either. They feel just the same. Now I have no discounts to offer on this. I have no association with Absolute Black, and the only discount I managed to find was that free delivery code. So what I will do is, if you are going to look at buying those, I'll pop that code in the description so you can at least benefit from that saving. So I'd look forward to hearing your comments. I'm nearly at the end of my ride, but I'm stopping here now because I'm going to make a slightly different end to this video today. Those of you that watched my previous video, which was out just before Christmas, you may recall that I mentioned one of our local characters, Tony Jackson, who had been diagnosed with motor neurone disease. A really active man, so it's a tragic diagnosis. What's even more tragic is that a couple of weeks ago I received the news that Tony had died, certainly much quicker than anyone expected. Apart from his family, Tony loved the canal, he loved the Vale of Belvoir, and he loved cycling. So what I thought I'd do is just put together just a little tribute really to Tony. It's only a couple of minutes long, but I just felt it was necessary to remember him. He was a very colourful character, and he's asked for the mourners at his funeral to follow that theme and dress in colour. And I know quite a few people are going to cycle behind the cortege, so I think he would love that. So I'll say goodbye to you, and I'll say farewell to Tony.